Let me ask you this, Walter Riley in the building with us. We were hearing reports, two things. The election, we have to ask you about that, especially with Wycliffe Jean bringing so much attention to it and then dropping out. And then we don't know anything else that's going on. Is that a good thing, bad thing, and what have you? And then we're hearing that people that are living in these tents are being jammed up and being made to pay,
Yes.
for living in the tents by landlords. And I'm like, what part of this equation do we not get?
It is outrageous. It is outrageous that we are so close to this place geographically, emotionally, and politically. Particularly in the black community, we should be emotionally close to what's happening in Haiti. It's part of us. It's part of our fiber. It's part of who we are going to be.
Right.
But we allow such terrible conditions to exist, and some of it fostered very specific ways by policies coming from Washington, coming from this country. People are being asked to pay to live on properties in tents. People are being asked to pay for vouchers for food. When I was there, I talked to people who were being told that they have to provide sexual favors for getting vouchers from people, food vouchers, and the food vouchers don't come every day. The food vouchers come sporadically, for example.
Wow.
And those things have been happening. There is a lot of corruption. The government is not giving support to people in the camps. The government would like people to find it miserable enough so that they try and move out of the camps. Gives them a lot more control over people. If the misery index increases, then they can say, you can't be here in the camps, you can't be comfortable, you can't live here, you're not going to get the resources that are good for that are necessary for life.
Right.
The government is playing that role, and they're allowing individuals to exploit, and the corruption is rampant in Haiti. It was rampant before. This is the kind of government that is a Republican wet dream. It is not a government for the people. It's a government that guarantees money flows to the elite and to the rich. They have regulations for that, but they have nothing to ensure that resources go to people.
Wycliffe Jean, a lot of attention brought with the election. Then all of a sudden we got introduced to his rival, his musical rival over there. And then come to find out he was pretty much in the same camp, but just a different name. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared and we don't know what's going on.
Well, Wycliffe could not be a legitimate candidate based upon the Haitian Constitution, Haitian law. Of course, that changes depending upon who is interpreting that constitution, that law. For example, they have outlawed lava-las. We'll talk about that in a minute, I hope. But Wycliffe was a popular character and certainly known by some folks in Haiti. When I was in Haiti, it was after it had been determined that he was not going to be on the ballot, and I didn't find a lot of excitement for Wycliffe Jean on the ground in Haiti.
That's what I was hearing. It was more excitement here,
exactly.
But not there.
Yeah, it was our personality that was being developed over there. I talked to young people on the ground, and I could, because I know something about what happens in some of the popular music areas.
Yeah, Walter Riley's, Boots Riley's father. For people who don't know, so he's no stranger when it comes to this music thing.
So I was on the ground talking to a number of young people. In fact, I wrote up on a group of folks that were doing a video, young hip-hop folks, and we started talking about various kinds of things in the politics. And these are young people in their late teens and 20s. And this is a large group of people hanging out there doing this thing. And you know how that whole scene is. And in Haiti, it was just very energetic. Right. Lots of energy there. And people were not talking about Wycliffe, and people had disdain for him there. They were talking about the popular lava-las movement. And
right.
these were young people who were saying, they want President Aristide back. They
right.
want to see the movement that allows their party, their political movement, their mass issues to be on the ballot. And that's what they were talking about. I mean, not something made up by me, but they came up to talk about those
right.
things.
Now,
they're doing graffiti. I just want to say graffiti on the wall. These are the people who write graffiti, as they do here. And they're writing Abba Paval, down with Paval. And that, it's a whole a set of things, meaning down with Paval and his whole policy, his whole group of people. So that's what's happening with a lot of the young people there.
Right, and the lava-las was the most popular party that Clinton and them banned from being in the elections?
Yes, lava-las was the party that came out of the movement that elected President Aristide in 1990. When in 1990, President Aristide was the only Lavalas person elected, he was then put in with a government of enemies by and large. And then he was deposed. But in 2000, Lavalas swept the elections, and that scared Bush. It scared the folks who hadn't been paying that close attention. But in 2000, they decided they had to depose Aristide again. But it took them 4 years to get rid of him because Lavalas had a number of people in various parts of government. So they went through a whole campaign of undermining him, telling lies about him, telling stories that he was eating babies and things like that.
For people who find this kind of outrageous, because it's hard for a lot of people to think that we have our hands in it, I want people to, if they get a chance, to take a look at the movie South of the Border that was put together by Oliver Stone.
Yes.
And what I want people to pay attention to is the role that our media, the CNNs of the world, I mean, they
pushed that whole campaign in South America and here and in Haiti.
And so our media on the international stage plays very devastating roles that we don't necessarily see here, and they push the propaganda, they have an agenda, and this is highlighted in the movie, South of the Border. You see,
yes,
they show these actual clips, and you're like, wow, they did that. So when you're telling me that there were these media movements going on, it doesn't sound far-fetched. I just want to make sure that people can connect the dots, that if they're doing it in these Latin America countries, they're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Haiti.
They were doing it in Haiti. They were doing it in Haiti as well and as effectively as they were doing other places. And they were doing it on the ground in Haiti, but they were doing it to the international community. And what's in particular important, they were doing it to people here. The international media carried out a campaign to win the hearts and minds of people here and give them a perspective about Haiti that was totally false, totally misleading, and lies, outright, very, very, very big lies about what was going on with Lavalas. So Lavalas is the largest party. It is 60, 80, 90% of the population. When Aristide was deposed, the right-wing forces and the neocons in the United States and a number of liberal forces that are part of the international liberal political movement had decided that Aristide needed to go because they had been warned to certain lies perpetuated by media, perpetuated by certain political thinkers in both the United States and the international community. France.
And even Wycliffe called for that.
And even Wycliffe called for it.
Because I remember interviewing him. He said he had to go. And I didn't know at the time until you all laced me up.
Yes, Wycliffe is connected to the elite in Haiti. And his and the other
his Uncle Raymond.
His Uncle Raymond Joseph is the ambassador that was on CNN a number of times saying, how could you expect me to know what's going on in Haiti? I'm in Washington, even though he was the ambassador from Haiti. And they are, opposed to Aristide because he represented the public. He represented black people. I mean, Davey, you and I know what that's about. And everybody who's listening to us, when they think about it, they know what it's about. The people who were part of the base of Lavalas in Haiti were the Rostovics, the working people, the people on the ground, the people who are allied with them. And they have many allies that are part of, the upper elite that are part of this community. But that's who Aristide was. He came from that.
Okay. And that's why it's important that we remember that we really can't move forward until that whole thing is reconciled. That
whole thing has to be reconciled there, has to be reconciled here. But we have to know who we support, and we have to talk about that, because the struggle in Haiti is the support for the popular movement. Lavalas needs to be on the ballot. Aristide needs to return. This is not some pie in the sky thing. We got, and we were part of the movement, the Bay Area, a major part of the movement, to get Nelson Mandela out.
Right.
We have been part of the movement to support the liberation struggles in Central America and Latin America. Why don't we give as much energy to Haiti? We have to talk about that sometimes. I think you've been in that conversation, that Walter Turney has been here on KPFA, because black-on-black issues don't excite people enough in our communities around these things. When we talk about whatever's happening in East Oakland or West Oakland, those are issues I know that you talk about. You talk about in the hip-hop community. I read your stuff. I keep up with you. I read your blog. And I know that those are issues. And those are real issues that have to be translated to Haiti. And we have to talk about that. In our communities, we have to understand that there is a struggle, a class struggle, a struggle against of the have-nots against those who have too much, those who will not distribute anything. A struggle against the oppression of women in Haiti, the development of more and more of the rapes, more and more of the violence against people who are trying to build movements. Sometimes the violence is created in order to create distractions in Haiti. That organized violence created to organize distractions, so it becomes another focus for media as opposed to the lack of food. I know you got time, but these are some things that just really are enraging. Right. I was at a camp, at one of the camps, and that camp, I know that in March, when people moved into that camp, I'm talking about places where people moved after being displaced because of the earthquake, they had no shelter, they had no water, they had no sanitary conditions. And the big thing is they didn't have food. And I was at the camp, I took photographs, and a dirt road across from that is the UN facility, which is a very large facility that had containers. And that in March of this year, that place had food that was rotten in containers, and people were starving and dying.
And they wouldn't let it out.
And they wouldn't let it out. And that's not accidental, David. That is not a lack of commitment. That is not a lack of organization, a lack of resources. That is intentional policies. And that's going on by the UN, not to mention all the other kinds of things they've done, but it's been part of U.S. government policy in Haiti to destroy and undermine the popular movement. The militarization of the relief effort was to control the popular movement.
There you have it. That's a lot of information that we need to take in. It's very sobering, but it reminds us that these hard times require us to not only stay alert, but to be able to connect the dots to all these things that are going on. Otherwise, being dumb, deaf, and blind to these situations initially will be used to our disadvantage and to somebody's advantage in Haiti, but then that gun, once they finish doing the damage there, will come back and haunt us. So we definitely need to stay up on top of things. Is there a website or anything that we should be directed to?
We should check out HaitiAction.net, HaitiSolidarity.net, Haiti Emergency Relief Fund, which I chair. That's the fund that raises money to be sent to the ground in Haiti. And let me tell you that fund was organized well before the earthquake, well before the hurricanes. We put together this fund. I've been doing work around Haiti for a long time, but I understand the need to provide political support to the grassroots movement. Right. In the same way, we need to ensure that people in East Oakland and West Oakland can maintain their organizations, can maintain their ability to fight back by giving them financial support and solidarity. We have to do that to the grassroots movements in Haiti. So we support national institutions in Haiti, institutions that work all over the country in the agricultural movement, women's movement. We keep schools going. We keep people on the ground fighting in the camps organizations. We do a lot of work to keep the Haitipt Foundation for Democracy in existence. And that's an important thing that we should talk about sometime. And we should actually get somebody on from the Haitipt Foundation for Democracy at some point, David, right here on this program.
Let's do that next time. And I think this is a good refresher course for some and an introduction for many others, especially those who are outside of the Bay Area that are listening to us this afternoon. Because all this information we don't get. We just see Bill Clinton and Wycliffe, and that becomes the narrative. But as we're learning, there are a lot of other narratives that we need to be up on, and not everything that glistens is gold. So Walter Riley, thank you so much. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Hard Knock Radio. We're hearing that people that are living in these tents are being jammed up and being made to pay, yes, for living in the tents by landlords. And I'm like, what part of this equation do we not get?
It is outrageous. It is
in the building with us. We were hearing reports, two things. The election, we have to ask you about that, especially with Wycliffe John bringing so much attention to it and then dropping out. And then we don't know anything else that's going on. Is that a good thing, bad thing, and what have you? And then
we allow such terrible conditions to exist, and some of it fostered very specific ways by policies coming from Washington, coming from this country. People are being asked to pay to live on properties in tents. People are being asked
Let me ask you this, Walter Riley.
Outrageous that we are so close to this place, geographically, emotionally, and politically, particularly in the black community. We should be emotionally close to what's happening in Haiti. It's part of us. It's part of our fiber. It's part of who we are going to be.
Right.
But